Hello, everybody. Now, this is my third time trying to do this. Hopefully, third time's the charm to do this review of season 3, episode 8, or episode 6 of This Is Us. For some reason, when I try to do these reviews of this week's review of the show, even though the video is only like 10 to 11 minutes, and last night I had my Steve's Wrestling Ramble podcast that went between 46 and 52 minutes. Between there, that was able to upload just after it was done airing, live stream. Then again, all my videos are technically live streams, live videos, because I don't have the technology to do and upload the videos regular wise. Because if I did, I would have photos or things like showing what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about a TV show or wrestling or whatever, that little cool stuff to make it look more professional, I guess, in a way. But anyways, let's try this a third time to talk about this episode. Again, season 3, episode 6. This Is Us. It's all hot girls on Instagram and on Snapchat. Bodies showing them off. You need to see that more often, especially with high school seniors and college freshmen. But anyone come up behind them and feel them up. But anyways, 24. Anyways, let's talk about this, and hopefully it'll be able to upload this way. So, anyways, let's get caught up. Randall Pearson City Council campaign gets a much-needed boost from an unlikely source. Oh, don't need to. Let's move on. And this week's episode of This Is Us. In related news, who knew that the Manny, or rather the baby man, was such a hit in South Korea? And who would have ever guessed that of all the Pearson triplets, Kevin would be the one who knows how to say thank you in Korean? If you don't worry, I'll explain. We'll also explore how Beth makes a career decision that we're supposed to love, and how Kate spends the whole hour waiting for Toby to get out of bed and on to tea. So there we go. And here are talking about the highlights of this. Kate's good and bad news travels quickly through the Pearson grapevine. She's pregnant, but Toby's smack in the painful middle of the depressive episode. As Rebecca, Miguel, Randall, Beth, and Kevin learn and share updates, we become aware that Toby has been back on antidepressants for 2 weeks, but hasn't seen any improvement. Indeed, when we see Toblerone, he's in bed, telling Kate he's tired and turning down the idea of taking their papa out for a walk. Kate is trying to roll with everything. She tells Rebecca on the phone while they're at the park, but she's worried. Eats a rock and things get more complicated. Back at home, Toby yells at Kate for letting the pooch get into some garbage, but he immediately apologizes. Kate ferries the dog to the vet who suggests surgery, but she says she also can take a wait-and-see approach, and maybe the dog will clear the foreign body on its own. Scared and freaking a little bit, Kate calls Rebecca for advice and laments that she's going to need her mom to live in her building once the baby's born. Rebecca gently counters that she's happy to offer her opinion, but Kate will just do what all mothers, herself included, always do: make a decision and hope for the best. So Kate brings back to the apartment. She's pleasantly surprised to see Toby up, showered and dressed, which seems like progress, right? But no, Toby sadly tells her he thought going through the motions would make him feel more normal, but it didn't. And now he's even more afraid that she'll think he's a burden and that she'll eventually leave him. He starts to go back to bed, but when Audio scratches at the door, he has to go potty, Kate firmly but gently informs her husband that she thinks it would be good if he accompanied them on a walk. Toby considers that for a moment and then says, okay. Outside, Kate reminds Toby that I signed up for better or worse, and vows that she's around forever. Plus, she's spent her whole life needing to be taken care of, and her trials have made her more than strong enough to support him in his time of need. You're incredible, he says. Then Audio drops Zeus, clearing the rock, and all is well. In a flashback to when the Big Three was in elementary school, Jack comes home from the boxing gym with a black eye, and also with a baseball cap perched on his head in a way that no sober person has ever worn a baseball cap. Kind of done and inside to hide the shiner from Rebecca. Real slick Jack there. But of course, Mrs. Pearson instantly notices her husband's injury, and she's shocked to learn that he's been sparring instead of just hitting the heavy bag. She makes him promise that he'll stop fighting other people, and he reluctantly agrees. Later, Randall comes to his dad to ask for help. A bully named Dylan is picking on him, and Randall wants some rudimentary boxing skills in his back pocket, just in case he ever needs them. So Jack teaches his son the basics, which earns him Rebecca's ire once she finds out. She calls the school to get to the bottom of the problem, and learns that there is no Dylan enrolled there. Randall sheepishly confesses that he invented the problem just because he wanted Jack to teach him, and he knew he wouldn't without a good reason. But even more heartbreaking, Randall wants to learn to fight because he feels like there are things, such as toughness, that Kevin got via Jack's DNA, and Randall didn't. Jack assures him that it's not the case, and that Randall's brain is his secret weapon that he'll be able to use the way Kevin uses his wrestling moves. And if you think that's not going to manifest itself in the present-day storyline at some point during this episode, you have another thing coming. In a quiet moment, Jack explains to Rebecca why he feels the need to spar. Boxing helps me, okay? It helps me with stuff I can't think about. It quiets things. He says that at a loss to explain it any better, but she understands. So she comes home with headgear for him to wear and asks him to try to be safe while working out his demons and whatever else he needs to work on. Then Jack tells a story about learning to box with his younger brother when they were kids. From the look on Rebecca's face, this kind of manipulated reminiscence doesn't happen very often. And then he gives her an impromptu boxing lesson that ends with a kiss. Or, as you see in porn, ends with pocket. But hey, that's interesting in its own. But moving right along. While Randall is at church in Philadelphia, Beth supervises Tess and Annie's plan to sell Girl Scout cookies at a table outside the grocery store. Deidre tags along. The endeavor is doomed from the start. They arrive at the location too late. Another group, already has set up shop. Then they don't have a credit card swiper, so their sole customer can't pay. Then Tess is a jerk to her mom, telling her that she sucks, and the whole thing pushes an already on-image Beth to her limit. She just snaps and says, shut up, and hustles the girls home. After she's calmed down, Beth gets a pep talk from Deidre, who will instruct her to tell Randall how she's really feeling. He'll tell you that you're exceptional, and he'll say it's amazing and that you'll believe, the teen says. Oh, you're really good at these things and good at these talks, Beth says. You live in this house for a while. You learn your way around the talk. She answers, that was pretty awesome. Indeed. Randall's church visit goes south when Councilman Brown, who is up in the pulpit to read some Bible verses, takes a moment to welcome his political opponent to the congregation. Though Brown's words are kind, his intention is not. He's very sly, and points out to anyone assembled that he'd known that untested Randall is in both community and the house of worship. Afterward, Kevin calls his brother, wanting to meet up and more than willing to do so. Already feeling like an outsider in the neighborhood, Randall has his white movie star brother meet with him in a Korean restaurant in another part of town. There, they discuss Kevin's obsession with figuring out who the Vietnamese woman is in Jack's photo. I'm curious about that too, but Vietnam, that was a chapter in his life he didn't want us to know about. He made that very clear when he was alive. It says. The conversation gets tabled when Randall realizes how everyone in the place is fawning over Kevin. Turns out the Manny is very big in South Korea. I think K-pop song named after me, Kevin says. Thanking the waiter in Korean by saying, "Commission." Randall is floored. The meal gives Randall an idea. Focus on his district's South Korean neighborhood, which are highly populated, but which have low voter registry numbers. Instead of trying to change brown loyal hearts and minds elsewhere, Kevin is willing to help. And so the two of them throw together a voter registration drive/campaign event in the neighborhood full of Korean Philadelphians. It's going well until a millennial man steps up and correctly calls Randall out for vote grabbing where he knows he might get them. The man starts to usher his mom and sister away, but Randall steps up and addresses him. And when the sister starts to translate Randall's remarks into Korean, the whole place is listening. Basically, Randall says that he sees a community in need and he wants to be the one to help. The people will take him. Then he mangles the word, but his meaning is clear. The millennial's mother and a bunch of others are charmed. Back at the campaign office, the young man returns to say that his mother registered to vote that day, something she never felt was important before, because you made her believe that you care. Turns out the guy has a master's degree in political science and experience working a campaign, and he wants to be Randall's campaign manager. Randall agrees. Then he swings by Brown's office to tell him that he knows exactly what the older man was doing at the church that morning, and it didn't get to him at all. Using a boxing trick Jack taught him, aka smiling through the pain, Randall informs Brown that he's going to win Koreatown. And moving right along, Randall then runs home to tell Beth the good news, but she has a glass of wine and to tell the truth that it will all went longer. For the past few weeks, I have been pretending that I'm fine, but I'm not, babe. I'm not fine, she says, waving off his attempts to buck her up and how lucky any office would be to have her. So she switches tactics. Join my campaign. She instantly says no, fearing isn't a pity offer. But Randall works his magic, and soon enough, she's all in. Let's win you an election, Beth says. It's a moment of joy for Randall Beth fans and the Randall Beth fan and me, because who doesn't love watching these two, as Randall puts it, crush it, like Rusev crush. But it is meaning we want Beth to have a role in addition to support Randall in his latest thing. But we'll see. Meanwhile, Kevin interrupts Zoe's solo night out pampering at a local hotel to bring her a visa application for traveling to Vietnam. He's going, and he wants her to come with him. Even though it's an intense and long trip for a couple that hasn't been dating for that long, but she's intrigued. Either by the subject matter or his zeal, or both, who knows, and happily accepts the invitation there, and that is it for that episode, and it was a pretty dang good one. I certainly enjoyed it for what it was, and I certainly look forward to seeing how things move forward here in the show, and hopefully this video does actually upload correctly in the end. Ooh. Still have a Halloween pumpkin there. Another one right there. But either way, hopefully you guys enjoy this. Hopefully you guys will join me also for my live watch of WWE Crown Jewel, which will be starting in 1 hour from now. But I hope you guys all have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Above all else, as always, take care.